time, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about that Obi-Wan Kenobi, episode 3. I don't even know what the name of it is. What we're gonna call it is a trial by fire because my man Obi-Wan got drug into the fire. It's finally happened, ladies and gentlemen. Hayden Christensen is back, and he came to annihilate. I could not believe how much Darth Vader we got this early on. But we're about to go and just break this whole entire thing down. We will briefly talk about the actress Moses and what some of that situation's going on with Reva on the outside. But we're gonna focus on the positivity today on how awesome episode 3 was. I have here my co-host, Ant. What's going on, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. Just enjoying the day, enjoying this. At least I didn't get dragged through fire. you know. But I did open my door today, and a random guy in a black cape just snapped my arm for no reason and kept it moving. I felt I got off lucky. He didn't even say anything to me. It was rude. It was rude.
Oh my gosh, dude! Look, I'm gonna put this one image up. This man's been plotting this for years, bro. He said, Mm-mm. "Nah, I don't want to just kill you. I want to make you suffer and feel all of it."
Which is funny because in the comics, like the Vader comics, he's been dreaming about like dunking Obi-Wan in lava and da da. So this was his get back.
Dude, I see it. I could feel it. I literally could feel it, man. It was amazing. But yeah, let's just go ahead and kind of break it down. So the episode started off initially with Obi-Wan mentioning Anakin's name, and we immediately jump. And this, I think we talked about this last episode. It's like, what if they go straight to him and his costume, him getting into it, and we kind of like, nah, that's not gonna happen. We're gonna wait till like the second to last episode. But they go straight into showing us him in full costume, him embracing everything, and like you immediately hear James Earl Jones, and I said, "Wait, hold on, what?" He's so I was thrown off by that, but then like as it starts to continue, and then you see, and you said it last time, there has to be a reason why Reva is doing this. Like, what? How is this happening without Darth Vader like snatching her up? Well, he's using her. He's using her to get close to Obi-Wan. Now, why she has animosity towards Obi-Wan, we don't know, but she's had direct communications with Vader, and he's using her to get close to Obi-Wan. And he got him in one episode. Did you think it? Okay, first off, how did you feel about this episode and coming off of what we talked about last time?
Okay. So this is, I don't think anybody's gonna satisfy this answer. It's mixed. There's a part of me, like a fanboy part, that I'm like, like I was like, there's some things you just can't imagine. There's some cool moments. There's just some cool moments, and just seeing and feeling the terror of Vader. One thing that we can complain about Disney and a lot of different, like question a lot of different decisions, but the way they handled Vader at the end of Rogue One, the
Mm-hmm.
way they handled Vader in here was trying to solidify him as the top 10 villain of cinema that he enjoyed for so long, right? So they trying to bring that back. So there was things in that I couldn't help but like salivate to, and some shots like this shot here. I thought that this was originally was the in one of the movies. His lenses are more red, but no, this is him reflecting off the lava and everything in his castle,
Right.
right? And even the castle, when you look at the layout in the room, it kind of outlines a Vader mask in a way, which I thought
Right.
was cool. And I like that they take it from lore where he's looking directly at the spot where he burned, where Anakin like left him, and
Mm-hmm.
not Anakin, where Anakin
Obi-Wan.
did leave him, but where Obi-Wan left him,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like charging up his power, charging up his
His
rage and his
anger
hate.
is yeah.
Yeah, and so I did like that. The other part of me is still I treat Star Wars like a lost manuscript, and when things don't make sense in lore wise, it always kind of throws me off some. So I'm still up there, but I'm open to seeing where the rest of this show goes. And there were some director decisions that when we get to those parts, I'll say it. I kind of questioned. I think they're director decisions for that. What I think, but overall,
Vader is looking at you right
I
now,
know Vader. Like,
and he is trying not to choke.
I know. The only thing scarier than Vader popping up behind me in that picture is when Janeway pops behind me. So, so, but overall, I'd be lying if I say I didn't enjoy the first run through this episode. Just without thinking anything, without being too deep, I enjoyed a lot to love in this episode. And again, Obi-Wan brings it with the acting. Ewan McGregor brings it with the acting, and just you can tell he gave them exactly what they asked for, but more.
I completely agree. I could the crazy thing was the moment that I realized this was gonna be crazy is when the droid robot was kind of like he had his little mallet ready to knock old girl out. He's kind of just waiting, and then he kind of calmed down. But then they were going through the tunnels. Everybody was going through, and Obi-Wan like freezes, right? And I was like, no way, Vader is already here. And like when he froze, he looked at them, and he knew. And I think emotionally, Ewan McGregor, I think he played it off very well. I could tell he knew that he was not going to stop until, either one, Obi-Wan was dead or he at least came into contact with him. So he made the best play of like, all right, you guys, y'all need to go. But I was kind of like, Obi-Wan, you ain't even ready, bro. Like you, what are you going to do? And so when Darth Vader proceeds to go down the streets and just starts to slaughter people out of their homes, like just slaughtering them, killing people in the streets. And then all of a sudden he senses Obi-Wan, like that feeling of dread. I was kind of like, that's great tension. Like I think that was why I was like, this is the best episode of this so far for me, because I never could have anticipated getting this much this soon. And I never thought that I would feel this in a series format for Darth Vader in general, nor like to have a vulnerable Obi-Wan. Did you ever think you would see a vulnerable Obi-Wan?
I did not like this.
Right.
But yeah, the Darth Vader scene, because even in Inquisitors was like, like the little kid too. I mean, they said daddy. Like, nope, that's what we doing. All right. And I love how they stood to attention. Like even the Inquisitor, even Reva, who usually got some like doing her own thing back talk, even she was silent when Vader came out. Like I get the feeling that none of them feel safe around Vader. when they snapped that little boy's neck and cut out saying daddy, they was like, I don't know if that was necessary, but okay. We drag women through the street. I don't know if that's good PR, Lord. Equal opportunity butt kicking. All right, I get it. But something I like even before that is when Vader and Leia were walking through the planet, and Obi-Wan is telling. I'm sorry, when Obi-Wan and Leia are walking through the planet, and Obi-Wan is discussing what the planet used to look like before it was like strip mined or whatever, and you see this haunting, distant figure of Anakin in the Jedi robes with the Sith eyes just staring intently, and in my mind, that's Vader looking out on his tower across through the Force, and his rage and his like, I can't wait to get my hands on you, just staring. And it's also the ghost of Anakin haunting. And I mean this, the ghost, not ghost of Vader, but the ghost of Anakin is still haunting Obi-Wan of his failure. Everything that Vader does, Obi-Wan feels responsible for. It's his failure that led to the fall of the gifted Jedi, potentially the gifted Jedi that could have had someone that he feels like he wasn't an adequate teacher, an adequate brother, and somebody couldn't really see it. So I thought that was really haunting. I love some things leading up to that. I don't know if we want to talk about it, but leading up to their journey, Leia and Obi-Wan's journey leading to the camp.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about that. Yeah, go. What do you want to start at?
I hear that some of these characters were like, some of these voices were named actors, but the mole looking guy that picked them up, and
I think that was Seth Rogen, honestly.
I think it was. Okay, yeah, I've heard there's so many people. I liked the little touch of him having a hand painted Imperial symbol on his flag. I mean, he really believed his cause,
Right.
and his personality was kind of like it was nice. It was Garen like, hey, it's kind of like when you travel in certain places, like, hey, who'd you vote for, kind of thing. Like,
That's
I'm on top of
exactly
the
what
trip.
that was. That's exactly what
Yeah.
that was.
So I thought that was cool. You even seen the stormtroopers come in and have that day to day, like, hey, I think his name was Frack or Frick or something like that. Hey, Frick, what's going on? And Obi-Wan and Leia's back and forth with their lie and trying to cover up for him slipping and saying Leia. Now I get we gotta decide what Leia is. Is Leia too smart for her age type of thing? Is she gonna take charge of this? Because I mean, she's 10, guys. Like I get it. She can be smart, she can be impulsive, but at some point, Obi-Wan gotta say, sit your butt down. like we gonna walk or you can't be following the lead of a 10-year-old, people. It's just it only goes so far for my disbelief. And I love me some Leia. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Leia. But yeah, also, and even that battle scene with the soldiers, but this is one of my issues. So you have the next checkpoint, and Frank is like, you might want to check them crew out. Uh, and the whole battle takes place where Obi-Wan shoots down the stormtroopers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we gotta decide: is Obi-Wan rusty or isn't he rusty? Like, is he? Because he was never a shooter like that before. So, what's going on? Also, great scene when he fell on the thing. But then 3 stormtroopers come out of the ship, and they go surrender, and he just lies down. You just killed a bunch of stormtroopers. Why do you care that 3 came out the ship?
Yeah, I think honestly in that situation, he didn't believe that he could use the force to get them away from him. I don't think he believed that he could, mind control them. I don't think he believed that he could push them away. And honestly, the only reason why he killed the other ones is because he got the drop on them. But these are 3 people directly facing them, and Leia is right next to him. So I think it was kind of like he could engage them, but he could run the risk of Leia getting shot. That's the way I internalized it.
Maybe, but we just saw him shoot an inch above her head.
He did.
Like he didn't aim. He got hip shot it like he was Richard Harrow from Boardwalk Empire. Like he thought, like I ain't know Obi-Wan was the sniper in that unit. Like
He's like, you gonna be my huckleberry today.
Right. So when I see 3, like, then if you lie down, if you get captured, that's pretty much it. If your leg gets captured, that's pretty much
y'all get captured. I mean, I guess in his mind, he was like, well, they're not gonna kill us right away, but I mean, this is my thing. Like, he knows at this point that Vader is alive, or Anakin is alive. It is Vader. That Vader would want him directly there, and he'd want Leia. So it's like, in the back of my mind, I'd be like, daggone, man, like, he don't know about this kid. Like, I gotta figure out something,
Yeah.
But I don't think he had any options because he went there on the whim from a guy that won't even with no power himself. And it's like it reminds me of like the Dark Knight Rises. Like when Bruce / Batman comes in contact with Bane. Like he was like, bro, like you lost your armory, you were not prepared, like you're about to go down, kind of thing. And I feel like that's the same situation that builds up to this one. It's like Anakin is full of rage, but he's also been honing. It's like he's been honing his skills by killing people for the past 10 years.
Yeah. So that's where I'm. Like I said, I don't want to be that cannon hawk, but in A New Hope, when it's pretty much implied that they have not seen each other since that battle in Mustafar, right? It's implied, but you get around that. But one thing he says, last time we met, I was but the learner, but now I am the master, right? So
something like that.
Yeah. So I'm not calling you master. I just whipped your tail and dragged you through. like I wasn't the learner.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
no, I get it. What I'm thinking by the end of this is that they're gonna have another altercation, but it's gonna go a different way. Now, my thing is, I don't know how 3 episodes and I don't know how much longer of a training montage.
That's what I'm saying.
Obi-Wan needs to train, and I don't know how much time he would need to do that.
and I think Disney thinks that the Force supplements your training. You know what I mean? I've heard weird who's the guy to play Kanan? Who's the guy to play Freddie from Freddie Prinze Jr.? Freddie Prinze Jr.
Uh-huh.
He had a very weird theory about how it doesn't matter what you train, doesn't matter your level in the Force. The Force decides who wins every battle. That's not true. It's never been depicted that way. If you're saying that Obi-Wan has some blocks and he's not trying to engage, it's a confidence thing, and that could be it.
I could believe that because he keeps on asking for Qui-Gon. Like every time. Like it's almost like a crutch at this point. Whereas before, even when he was in altercations after Qui-Gon had died, like when he engaged with Anakin the first time, right? Like he didn't like Qui-Gon, what should I do? Like he did it. It's maybe it is his guilt that is forcing him to do that. Because I don't know.
Maybe his guilt is throwing him off balance. Maybe his guilt is throwing him off balance. And maybe that's why when the Obi-Wan we get in episode 4 is like he's more machine than man. He's gone. Like, Luke, you gotta take this guy out. Who is he? No matter. Take him out. Maybe he's off balance, and maybe this will give him his balance back, and then he can get back to being able to feel confident in the fights. But we can't say it's him being a rusty thing.
All I know is this ninja don't need to he don't need to engage no more. When I sat there and looked at Obi-Wan in the fire, and he was just in there just like because he was still force holding him, like he couldn't get up physically.
He held him with the Force, made him drop the lightsaber, and then he knelt down a little bit and touched the crystals with the he's like, he knelt down a little. He's like, look at this. Oh, guess what happened? About the barbecue, like he stalked that man. But even before that, one thing I got real excited about was they name dropped my second favorite Jedi ever, Quinlan Vos. And
for y'all don't know, name again? What's the name?
Quinlan Vos.
Who is that?
He is a Jedi that was really popular in the comic book series. Dave Filoni made him a surfer personality in the Clone War, one episode of Clone Wars he was in. But he's a Jedi that was really popular. He had a cameo in Phantom Menace. He was in the background in a bar, and people liked the look of him so much they made him a character. He's a Jedi. He's almost like the Batman of the Jedi Order. It's Quinlan Vos. If you're looking for a picture,
yeah, I'm looking.
If you look up Quinlan Vos versus Mace Windu, you get a cool Batman like picture in there. But he has a power of touching objects and getting their past history about it. He was a Jedi spy. He spied under Dooku for a while. He's one of the people that survived Order 66. Quinlan Vos. He's partially trained in Vatbat, and he's the only other person besides Mace Windu not to lose his mind over it, even though he's only partially trained. That was the Clone Wars version. They gave him a surfer personality. In the Clone Wars, they tried to give him the backstory where he he easily always kind of one-upped Obi-Wan, but they were like best friends for a minute. But he's a very popular character. And at least from us comic books, legends, fans, and everything like that. And he's always been depicted as surviving Order 66. So it's cool to see that he survived it in the canon timeline now. And he doesn't have to show up in this one. He can show up anywhere else. They also mentioned him in Revenge of the Sith. He was supposed to have a cameo in that, but for some reason it got cut. And so instead, Obi-Wan mentions him in Revenge of the Sith. Huh. So it's really cool. He's my second favorite Jedi. There's a really cool picture of like him coming down on top of Mace Windu while Mace Windu was like looking up because they had a brief little exchange at one point. Mace would have dragged him like Vader dragged Obi-Wan in this, but it's still cool. But I got really excited. Apparently, there's a couple of names in there. I think the guy from Fallen Order was in there too on the wall. People have translated a lot of I don't read the Star Wars script, but I'm hearing a lot of people translated it. It was so that was cool for me. That was cool for me. Can we talk about those tunnels though? I don't understand how those tunnels work. And I'm not sure they understand how tunnels work.
So this is my thing about the tunnels. And this reminds me of the whole thing that happened with Reva last episode. I don't know how. What's her name? What's the chick's name from Game of Thrones that showed up in this? Which I'm assuming she's not a great Jedi, but I think she's a rebel slash rebel,
Yeah,
kind of a rebel.
yeah. I don't know.
Um,
I love the actress because I also loved her in Rome. I never remember what her name is, but I love seeing her and everything she shows
dude, she
up.
was in my man Idris Elba's show Luther. Um,
Yes, she was in
she,
that too. Yeah,
she was Zoe, his wife.
I
Um,
love seeing her. She's a beautiful woman and a great actress.
yeah, she's amazing. But she went out. She went the opposite way, right? She told Leia to go that way. She went back the same way. It's only one way, right?
That we saw. You didn't establish there was like multi forking, but
Because
again, they went straight.
because I was like, okay, this is what's gonna happen. Reva is gonna intercept the droid. The droid is gonna die, and the girl is gonna get through to get to Obi-Wan. That would make sense, right? But we don't see the droid even show up at all. Where the heck did the droid go? I feel like it's a deleted scene that the droid just died. They just didn't want to show. They didn't want to show a droid on the news. They were like, "Yeah, no
Well,
droid violence tonight."
well, we see the droid. We see the hammer. The droid about to crack that guy in the head. We see him pick up Obi-Wan behind the flames. Are you talking about him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the droid
So
left with her, but avoided Reva. How?
how and how did Reva get to the pilot and before Leia? Like none of
Now
this
that's the
makes
other thing
sense.
I was gonna say. So she knew that going through the tunnel, like, okay, Reva knew how to go all the way around to bypass your girl. And I was like, ain't no way that little girl got caught. Ain't no way. It
No,
makes no sense.
either you gotta tell me they didn't take the most direct route to the pilot, which you saw when you saw what Vader did. You can't tell me you went the long way around.
Right.
Or you got to tell me that instead of going the straight way of pursuing somebody, Reva knew to go all the way around to like some side tunnel that would take longer to
Yeah,
like
unless have they introduced
force speed. No,
only time I've ever seen that actually was in the
Phantom
first
Menace
right.
and the original Battlefront games. That was it. so
Like
so
they gotta make it make sense. I mean, I'm assuming when we get to episode 4, they're gonna have to make some kind of scene about it because I mean I don't know. I guess maybe they
well
don't. I don't know. I don't know.
because there was also a thing where Obi-Wan was running away from Vader, and it looked like he ran to the exact same spot because of how they didn't flip the image. So when you have somebody go from this side of the screen over to this side, you gotta have to continue that journey because if you flip it, it looks like they just came back to the other way.
Right.
If y'all when y'all go back and watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. It kind of threw me off of what they were doing. And like I said, there were some director things that just didn't really work for me. And some of the angles, the initial clash with Obi-Wan and Vader felt very fan made. And that's not to say it's a bad thing, but it didn't seem up to the quality of other things. Before they got to the fire dragon, there was something going on with the camera or the clarity. I don't know what it was, but it was that whole exchange. When you look back at it, it was like, this could have just been some fan in the suit kind of like it was weird. I do like that he only used one hand to show where they were at and show Vader's kind of cockiness at this point, and
Mhm.
Anakin's kind of like refined, like I'm in his prime type of things, where Obi-Wan is weakened. Um, it was just some very weird decisions for me.
Them darn Skywalkers.
Did you just
Um
put Ray up? Did you just put Ray up there? Or
hey,
Ascending
look, they all
Skywalker?
Skywalkers.
They are not all Skywalkers, Sam. They are not all Skywalkers,
um
Sam.
so this is my thing about the fight. The actual fight itself, it was kind of like I felt like I was dealing with the Obi-Wan that was afraid and was subpar. And I felt like uh, a Darth Vader that was not only just OP, but he just really didn't care about killing this man. He wanted to just make him suffer. Like I felt like he was really kind of stalking him.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like it was more so about the hunt than the actual. Because this is the thing, we've seen top notch. Like honestly, between episode 3, like that's probably the best lightsaber fights we've ever seen live action. And they trained
Yes.
for it. They trained. I remember looking at that. I still got that box set somewhere. When they were going through the training for that, they spent countless man hours like just perfecting it, perfecting it, perfecting it. And I would love to see something similar to that with this situation. Um, I don't know how it would work from a mobility standpoint with Darth Vader, but I think it would be very fascinating for them to try it. But that was not this moment. This moment was more so to me about, you know what, you owe me, and you gonna pay what you owe. Where's my money, man? Where's my money?
What
That's
money?
literally all I could think of. And I did find what you were talking about. I think this is the comic.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, 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 yeah. Man, you good with it, Sam. I just mentioning random stuff I'm seeing.
Yeah, I
um,
am the researcher. This one.
but I didn't like that because the only exchange they really had was, "What have you become? What
Right.
you made me, Ninja? What you made me?"
Right. Right. Well, you become
Yeah,
ninja.
look, he knelt down. He wanted to see that now. Like, you know what's coming, right? You know what's coming, right?
Now I was like, what are you doing these goddamn crystals? Is he gonna initially I was kind of like he's gonna take all these crystals and start throwing because what I thought
That's
he
what
was gonna
I
do,
thought.
I was like, all right, like look, Obi-Wan, I need you to deflect some of this stuff and be prepared because stuff gonna start flying at you like in episode, in the Empire Strikes Back. But instead, this man sets these goddamn crystals on fire.
He's like, "Oh, you see this? You see this?" He's like, and the also thing I started to think about was in canon, we know Obi-Wan doesn't lose a hand or anything, but we don't know if he don't lose a leg or something. We never see his feet. Like, I don't know what he's about to do to this man. And and it yeah, it was a good scene. Seeing him like just hold him there and like just ragdoll Obi-Wan. And you haven't seen Obi-Wan really get ragdoll except by Dooku. The show when Dooku was a Jedi, like a Jedi, but he was trained as a Jedi Master and a Sith Lord. Like he was able to be ragdoll Obi-Wan, and now it just shows that the power difference that Vader was able to go through all his defenses and just ragdoll him. So like seemed like it was nothing he could do being held up like that. To the fact that Vader even looked almost bored playing with his food. He's like,
He
"This is the
was.
best fight you putting up." Nah, nah, nah. Let's put a fire into you real quick. And then as he slowly dragged this man's shoulder through those crystals, and then used the force to douse the flames, like, you know what? Nah, nah. There's much more pain for you coming, Obi-Wan. Get his ass, bring it to me.
Yeah, because he really could have, honestly, in my opinion, he could have probably grabbed that droid, grabbed Obi-Wan, crushed the droid, and like, you know what, you thought you were done? Nah, bro, you gotta cook a little bit longer. You ain't fresh yet.
No,
He
no.
flip you over to the other
Like, I like mine well done. I like my Jedi well done.
side.
But I imagine if the stormtroopers got Obi-Wan, he was taking him back to Vader's castle. Vader was going to spend a lot of time slowly dissecting that man,
Yeah,
like
no.
piece by piece. Um, uh, yeah, but then we come to another point I have a problem with. So we need to come up with a name for her, but Game of Thrones came back because she laid told her to go back. Now again, 10-year-old little girl, after seeing what I just saw, you got to go back for him. Little girl, I am not a Jedi. I got this
Right.
blaster. What do you want me to do against against that?
Right.
Well, you got to bring them back. I think you've misunderstood the power dynamics here.
Right.
I'm about to get on this ship. I'm about to go. You coming or not? You finished or you done? But she goes back. Mrs. Rivas somehow gets up in a sniper position, knows where they're at, and snipes a tower to blow it up, and has a little bit of flame between Vader and
Obi-Wan and the
Obi-Wan.
robot. Yeah.
Then proceeds to go down with the robot, pick him up, and they leave while Vader just watches. So I had a little bit of exchange with Chris Harloff today through this comment section.
Oh, you
Because he
did.
had said in his in his review that because Vader can't jump over those flames. He's not like a Jedi like he used to be before. So that's how they got away. And he said that makes sense. I was like, that makes sense to you that the little flames kept him away. And he said something like sure, and it was kind of like a kind of off the, I don't know how I felt about it, but I'll explain like, no, it doesn't make sense. We've seen Vader like lift up ATT walkers. We've seen him like he could have just force grabbed them through the flames. He would have just walked through the flames. Unless you're trying to say he has some fire issue now, like the Hound, or he could just douse the flames like we just saw him do like less than a minute ago with the other flames that he started. So I was like, that doesn't really make sense. I hope they explain that. Like maybe he wants to continue to chase. Maybe he wants to let him go chase him. Let him go chase that, because anything else, those flames did not stop Vader from getting Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like
No, not at all.
based on what we saw. So
So do you think? Because I don't buy that either. I think honestly he could have gotten past that. I think he's almost like he's like, I want to give you a little bit of hope, just so, because I feel like, to me, I took that scene as he's letting him get away so he can continue to torment him and chase him. The issue is that he doesn't realize that Reva has his daughter, and he also doesn't realize that he has children. And I feel like what'll be fascinating to me, and I was going to pose this question to you, because I don't know enough from a canon standpoint, but was it explicitly explained at what point Darth Vader knew he had children?
so it depends. So there's legends. So he discovers it in between episode 4 and 5. And I think we talked about last episode is when he finds out he had children, which means he didn't kill Padme. There's a great scene where he like cracks all the windows of the Star Destroyer after he finds out the news, but he can't do anything to Sidious at this point. So researching or tracking Luke Skywalker, I'm sure that who was the kid that blew up the Death Star? Who's that pilot? His name is Luke Skywalker. Say what? Skywalker? You say? That's not a common name, at least as far as we know. the Galactic Empire.
Right.
So canonically, it's after A New Hope. Which also brings me to something else is that I had another debate because on Jesse Gender's thing where they were talking about how which was a problem with the Jedi. What was it? Did they kidnap kids too? It's like Jedi did not kidnap kids. Jedi asked parents if they wanted their kids to be. Oh, it came up because in this we learned that Obi-Wan had a brother, right? That we never, because we really don't know much about Obi-Wan's past. We knew where the planet he came from. And so somebody brought up that this was an issue with the Jedi, that they were taking kids. It's like the Jedi did not kidnap kids. It was not Jedi policy. That every instance we see of Jedi taking kids, they asked the parents, and it was an honor to give your kid up to be a Jedi. Right. And depending on the customs, some people even went back to their kids. So Yoda asked for Mace Windu, and it's all in this thing. The Sith are kidnapping kids to use for some experiment, and that's completely different. Just like, and also all the Jedi aren't all the Inquisitors aren't ex-Jedi. Some of them are these kids they've raised up to be Inquisitors. That's why they're not fully trained or on the same level as most Jedi or Sith. So I don't know. I thought it was really that we got some really good insight into Obi-Wan's past, but I think people have this weird misconception that Jedi were going around kidnapping children, and that just wasn't the standard case, unless they were like some really toxic environments. So yeah.
I didn't really put too much, I guess, into that statement, but I kind of felt like you. I was like, it did kind of feel a little left. And I wasn't sure because I haven't seen all of Clone Wars if there was ever an implication of Obi-Wan having a girlfriend or having a brother or a sister or anything like that. So I didn't know if there was any context behind that when he mentioned it. You know what I'm saying?
So yes, there is. You find out some more about Obi-Wan's past as a Padawan, where he fell in love with the Queen of Mandalore, pretty much before she was queen. Yeah.
Wait, what? Really?
So Bo-Katan, the Mandalore, the redheaded Mandalorian.
Yeah.
that Obi-Wan was in love with her sister. That's yes. So when so this is some all right. So before I say anything else, spoilers for Clone Wars, people. Um, you have been warned. 3, 2, 1. All right. You find out during a mission to Mandalore after Darth Maul's been taking over a set of Mandalorians, right, and moving to take over the city. Obi-Wan and the Queen have a moment together, and she's like, "So I see you stayed the Jedi Order. So I see you stay his path." And she says, "You pretty much said you left me." And she's like, "I'd have left the order if you asked me. You never asked." And you find out that Obi-Wan had a situation kind of like Padme, which might because he also hint that Obi-Wan knew about Anakin and Padme.
Yeah, he
And
knew. I mean, based on episode 3, he knew.
Yeah, so you see why he kind of let it pass. So ends up happening is Darth Maul ends up killing her in front of Obi-Wan.
What?
Yeah. So if you follow the story of Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, and like it's a very tragic thing, which makes their ending story, which honestly probably should have been saved for this show.
I thought it was supposed to be, and then the man exposed himself where he wasn't supposed to. But that's for another day.
Well, I know. I think when we scrapped the Obi-Wan movie, I don't know if that's when it got moved. That ending scene got moved to Rebels between Obi-Wan and Maul, but
right.
that might make sense. It's like, all right, we're not doing the Obi-Wan movie. All right, we'll use this over here or whatever. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. So Obi-Wan had a lot of loss, and since they have been using elements from the what they consider canon television, Clone Wars, and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get a Sabine mention or something like that in here, or even. If I hear they might be doing a season 2 Obi-Wan, you could bring Bo-Katan into this. You could bring these other characters in and have connections, and it might even be like, "What? When did this happen?" You got to watch the show.
Right.
Like you got to watch this show. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of loss in there.
Man, how did we get here? How did we get to this point?
I don't remember the question anymore. I went, I will go off in the tangents. You asked me about Star Wars lore, Sam. I know too much stuff about lore.
I think,
and I'm still a Padawan in this lore game. I know people who can tell you Stargates, read the basic, read the intellect, like know the glimpse. Like it's.
I'm trying to piece together what brought us to this. I think.
Oh, we talked about his brother. You said you didn't know that he had a brother or his past or he had a girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, he did have a girlfriend. It's a pretty interesting story. And
that's how we got here. Got it.
But that's also why Bo-Katan believes she's the rightful ruler of Mandalore because her sister was queen. So she should be next in line to actually get it. So for all you Mandalorian people that wonder where that storyline came from.
Yeah, I heard that the actress that played the role of Bo-Katan is going to be back. I think for Mandalorian season 3, as well as possibly the Ahsoka series.
What makes sense for Ahsoka have a past, and the same actor that plays her and also voiced her. So that's pretty awesome.
Really?
Yeah, Katie, whatever her name is. I shouldn't say it like that. I love Starbuck.
Because I remember her from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, love you. I'm sorry, Katie. I think it's Stockholm. I don't want to misspell your name, but if you ever see this, no disrespect.
Yeah.
Starbuck. Your name is Starbuck to me. You're gonna be 78 years old. If I'm still living, you're gonna be Starbuck.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like all the lore side of stuff, like outside of that whole tunnels thing that didn't make much sense. I love this episode. Like I'm in love with this episode. Like I really need to go and check this out again. I'm curious to see where this is going. I did know I heard in an interview that like you said, like Ewan said he's more than willing to come back. I would be curious to see if they do make a season 2. Like, why not take and branch those off into their subsets? Like, take Obi-Wan, put him in a different series, make Darth Vader like his own series. But I don't know. I'm curious to see where this is gonna go because I don't know how it's gonna end. I think that's the thing. I have no This is one of the first of these series for Disney Plus that I have not any clue how they're going to end this. I know where it ends, but I don't know where this series ends.
So that's my worry is that they're saying like Disney Plus saying this is the most watched show or whatever premiere of one of their shows or something like that, right? Have you heard that?
Yeah, Stranger Things and Obi-Wan both had most watched last week, I think.
So so if that's the case, and you had a contained story, because again, you have to be careful of canon. This is all supposed to make sense. Don't extend something and give us a season 2 of Anakin and Obi-Wan
Oh,
having four more fights.
there is something we
Like
got to bring up. Okay, go
let
ahead.
Anakin let there's plenty of Vader stories. There are decades of great Vader stories of what he's doing, and you can show how the Empire is being formed. You can fill in a lot of blanks. Let Vader do that. But you gotta let Obi-Wan be Obi-Wan too, over here and doing his own thing, right? And he can't keep leaving the planet because he's protecting Luke. So you gotta come up with real stories that make sense. And there's things you can do. Ahsoka could find them. They could train together. There's a lot of things you could do with this time period. You could do Quillen Voss. Quillen Voss has at least 2 decades of stories you could pull from to bring that into an Obi-Wan story, or maybe where Obi-Wan's not the main character. It could be just story of the Last Jedi's, or you know what I mean, like something like that. Like you could do a lot there um, during this time period. There's still Jedi around. There's still Inquisitors. The Inquisitors are falling off by one, but there's still Inquisitors. And Jedi and Vader just hunting down Jedi, vying for his position in the Empire, going against people who want to take his position in Palpatine's court. Like there's a lot of things you can do in this series. Don't just rely on the fact that we like Ewan McGregor. Okay, like just gotta keep it making sense. Please stick the landing. I need you to stick a landing on this. I just need you to. I think Reva is going to get change her heart by Leia, or I do not think her ultimate goal was become Inquisitor though. I think there's still something more to that. I think that'd be my goal, but I mean that'd be my thought.
Yeah, I
I just
definitely.
ranted.
No, you're fine. You're fine because I think that's a good segue into Reva and the other Inquisitor that she effectively, supposedly killed. I was curious your perspective on that, and then I'm gonna interject with something that I heard. So Reva, I mean Reva. Well, we'll talk about Reva. We'll talk about Moses in a second. But Reva in this episode, she was just sitting there like, yeah,
Yeah,
and she ends up, at the time, the other Inquisitor was like, "Look, man, you got to stand down, bro, and I'll take the glory for this. You got to take a L. It's all good." She stabs this ninja straight through the gut, and it's like, "Yeah, nah, homie, I'm sorry, I can't do that." How did you feel about that moment? And then I was gonna interject something that I heard.
so from last episode, I mean, it breaks canon because he dies in Rebels, which happens years after this moment in the timeline. But like I had a conversation with Chris from Three Black Geeks, and he was saying that he saw him in scenes that weren't shown yet. So and people have brought up before his species has 2 stomachs, so maybe he's okay. You know what I mean? Like and he's a fully trained Jedi. He's a fully trained Jedi and Jedi guard at that. So possibly they're using Reva's anger and rage to help track down Obi-Wan. It's all part of some other plan. And him and Vader don't have love for each other anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I don't want them to break Rebels canon. I think Rebels is one of the few series that most fans can agree on in the post Disney buy. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of good stories there. And why? There's other things you could have done where there are whole stories like in Jedi Fallen Order. The Grand Inquisitor doesn't show up. There's other Inquisitors doing stuff, so you didn't have to kill him. You could have just had them other Inquisitors on assignment to do it. There's no reason to break canon just willy nilly like that. It kind of ruins the experience a little bit.
So, so this is where I'm going to interject, and this will make you feel a little bit better. There was a message from the director and the creators where somebody was like, "Well, how would you kill the Grand Inquisitor? Why would you do that? That's not, canonical. It doesn't make any sense." And he or she said, "We never break canon, and we're not going to start now." And that's all I can say.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure this man isn't dead.
Okay.
Because I don't think he would openly. I don't think the directors or the creators would openly say that. But I think they had enough respect for the fan base to actually make that comment, to make them feel more at ease about it. Now, which is sad because I don't know Reva is in this at all. I never. This is the first time I know about the character, so it lays me to believe that he's going to be the one to kill her,
Hmm.
unless something happens to her that we don't foresee. Um, but yeah.
Well, the other thing is that Yoda said at a certain time point, there's only two Jedi, him and Luke left. So Disney and Dave Filoni have skirted around this with Ahsoka. Ahsoka quits being a Jedi, so she also technically there's she's not a Jedi.
Yep.
All right, Dave. We know you love Ahsoka. You was like, my creation gonna live.
My baby ain't gone. My baby ain't going nowhere.
Right, but we also have Ezra Miller from Rebels, who him and Admiral Thrawn. I don't know if you know who Admiral Thrawn is.
I know who Admiral
Uh,
Thrawn is, but I don't know. Ezra, the random
yeah,
gun lightsaber.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they go off the unknown regions. So Yoda could be. So again, you get around what Yoda, but we just assume that Yoda just knows who's around and who's not. So especially make a blatant statement like you're the only Jedi. After I'm gone, you're the only Jedi left. Um, so Disney has found really interesting ways to get around that Yoda line, and I think that's what they're in their mode of we got to get around some of these lines they say in Star Wars the movies because we want some more
Right.
characters because a real big thought is when Ahsoka first showed up, oh, how does Ahsoka die? Because she's not around in what's the name or Jedi Fallen Order. How does Kessler die? He ain't around in this. And so you only can do so much. So they usually skirt around it like, oh, they weren't really Jedi, they weren't fully trained Jedi,
Mhm.
they'd renounced being a Jedi, things like that.
Right.
So what are you going to do? If Reva lives and was a Padawan and a trained Inquisitor, like she shouldn't live. And a lot of people think she's going to get a reform story, which I'm fine with. If they want to do a redemption arc with her, but you got 3 episodes left. You got 3 episodes left. You got to make it convincing. And like I said, her whole goal could be to get the Vader. She could have saw Anakin killing younglings and killed some friends of hers. And her whole goal was to get
Oh, so
close to Vader.
you think she's trying to assassinate him,
Could be. Maybe she
gain his
feels like
trust enough to?
to be around him when he's in the tubes. Not that doesn't have his limbs or something. And maybe she could do something there. And he go, oh, you thought I was helpless? So I don't know. I do not know. And it would also make her not a Jedi. She's going purely for vengeance.
Right.
Um, but yeah, something's driving her. And since we don't know, we still I don't think I don't think she's going this hard to be Grand Inquisitor. And they're dropping little hints like, oh yeah, I hope we do both get what we deserve. Yeah, I hope we do. Another thing you noticed in that room of the Inquisitors, there's a bunch of lightsabers and Padawan helmets lining the room.
I
When you
saw
when you
that.
when you yeah, and so those are trophies. So I mean that's what I assume they are. Um, so I think
Okay.
there's something deeper there, and I'm giving the writers the benefit of the doubt. You
Mhm.
gotta plan for her. I don't want to see her completely turn to the light side or whatever. I think that she just isn't a friend of Vader's.
Yeah, it's so strange because Obi-Wan has been gone for a very long time, and I don't know why she would have so much animosity towards him. And now it's like she knows way too much. She technically knows more than Vader does because I'm wondering if she told Vader about Leia and how she could use Leia to bring Obi-Wan in. I really am. Because if they had that much conversation back and forth, then it's like Vader knew, Organa was out and this is a possible ploy back. And it's weird, like the amount of information she knows doesn't make sense. And
It doesn't.
also, why take that animosity towards Obi-Wan. Like, what could he have done? Unless it's legit a brainwashing situation, and no, that doesn't add up. She had to have seen Anakin doing that. I I,
Yeah.
I gotta believe that, because that was one of the first things we saw. Is like the Order 66, like the younglings getting away, but they never showed that panned out shot of what Anakin was doing.
There's also
Um,
rumors that they cast a certain actor that might be playing Quillen Voss. So far, we know Quillen Voss got her out. We don't know if Quillen Voss got Baby Yoda out. We don't know. Like they mentioned, that he got younglings safely. And
so
if
you
anybody
think?
could do it, it'd be Quillen Voss.
So do you think she's deep undercover then?
Quillen Voss went deep undercover and infiltrated Sith, so that could be the case. And she could have just got turned a little bit, or her case could just be vengeance, and she knows if she goes as hard as she can, she'll get it. She'll get her shot at Vader. Could be. Could be. But we have 3 episodes. They have, and again, I am not dissing. I'm not getting on this on the writers. We have 3 episodes. They could all make it make sense. It could all line up by the
Yeah.
end of the thing. But she knows a lot of information. And Vader does not, like Tarkin knows who Vader is or suspects it, but he wouldn't say it out loud because Vader would probably kill him.
Right.
like,
Right.
like Vader would hear no Anakin nowhere. When
Right.
Anakin gets brought up, I killed him. If he
Right.
was weak, I killed him. So
Hmm.
so they got so her having this information doesn't make sense. Leia can meet Darth Vader at this point because remember in New Hope she says, "I thought I recognized your foul stench," meaning they've met before.
So that's what I was
So
about to ask you. I was going to ask you this. Do you think the moment, I feel like, why wouldn't Vader know that Leia is his kid once they are in close proximity of each other?
so Leia's always been depicted as being resistant to mind probes, like from the Force or from torture. Even in New Hope, they go the torture bots for some reason can't get it out of her. So she's been always been strong willed. Um,
Hmm.
Vader once Vader gets the knowledge of who Luke is, he goes, "Oh crap, yeah, I can feel it. You're my son." Connection. And then
Right.
when he gets the knowledge from Luke, who hasn't been depicted as be able to hide his thoughts as well as Leia, he goes, "You have a sister. Oh, you have a sister. Oh, Leia's your sister. Can't turn you, I'll turn her."
Got it.
Like
That's
so,
crazy. So he could actually make direct contact with her and never know that was his actual daughter.
no, he might
Dang.
feel that she's really powerful with the Force. He might
I
feel that he has the potential.
Or it will be more interesting. What would be interesting to mess him up or throw him off is you feel so familiar to me and
Hmm.
Padme, because that was one thing that even Obi-Wan kind of alluded to. Like that's what messed him up. Matter of fact, he was like, "Yeah, I lost somebody," and then Leia was like, "You're talking about my mom. Like you're talking
So
about."
there.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
There's I don't know who it was. It might have been Star Wars Theory talked about there, and I've heard this before. There was a unused plot line of a love triangle between Padme, Obi-Wan, and Anakin,
Oh my
and you get a
god.
little bit of that in Revenge of the Sith where you're here with Obi-Wan. You brought him like kind of Anakin being jealous. Um, so I wonder if Vader will wonder if Leia is really Obi-Wan's daughter. Like, and he'll even go harder. The only thing that messes this up is that if Vader thought Bail Organa or Leia Organa had any connection to Obi-Wan, he ain't waiting. He ain't waiting 10 more years to go after him. like, they're gonna have to show the Emperor ordering Vader to stay away from Alderaan to try to make the connection. But we also know that again, in New Hope, Vader tells Leia like you're not on some mercy mission this time. I mean, they've had interactions before, so again, we just gotta take this all into account when they do the writing. That's all.
I guess we're gonna have to wait and see, bro. Because I'm loving the show, but it's kind of like I'm having to, what's the word? Ride the wave. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really having to ride the wave and just trust that this is going somewhere. And I feel like it's been worth it for me. Like I really have enjoyed it, but I don't know. Oh, this is
Yeah.
the questions. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but also don't have Leia giving a bunch of smack talk to Vader, because as we see, Vader will snap a kid's neck. So, so, so you gotta have him say something like, "If you were not the senator's daughter," or something like that. Shout out to James Earl Jones, you 91-year-old beautiful man. You like look at that voice, that silky silver voice. I know I saw that company that did the work on Mark Hamill's voice, had a little credit in there too. But still, if he came out there to do the lines and still deliver them like that, beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, is that what we feeling here?
Yeah, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our discussion on episode 3. We could theorize for hours, and we're not gonna do that. Yes, this is a lightsaber. But oh crap!
So there's some batteries in mine.
We will clash. Yeah. But no, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our discussion. We'll be back next week, and hopefully we'll get it to you guys a little bit sooner. We're freeing up our plate because Stranger Things just ended, and I know you guys want our episode 7 discussion. We will try to do that as soon as possible. And yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell button, and what's gonna happen next?